Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name is Luke Payson. Welcome back to everybody who's already a subscriber to the channel. If you're not already, please subscribe so you can see more great interviews, including the one coming at you right now with a friend of mine, a friend of the show, somebody who's been on several times and has a big MMA amateur title fight coming up just in 15 days away, March 16th, the Made Men Promotions. It's going to be a great fight. Really excited to welcome back to the show with a special guest,
Isaiah Davis.
Elijah Davis. Hello.
Say hi.
Hi.
Well, hello there. You can hang out and be a part of the show for as long as you want. Elijah, welcome back to the show. Who do you have on the show with us today besides yourself?
This is my son Isaiah. He's coming in, chiming in a little bit with me today.
Hello there, Isaiah.
My
Hi, Isaiah.
energy
My
source
name's
here.
Luke. Hey, buddy. Hi, I've met you at a couple of your daddy's fights. This is great.
Yeah.
Man, okay. Well, always happy to have little ones on the show. This is great. Talk about the title fight. You're 4-1. You're taking on a guy who's 5-1. That's high level amateur matchups for sure. It's your first title shot. I think it's going to be a great fight. What are your thoughts on saying yes to this? And how much stock do you put into the fact that it's for a title?
Oh man, first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me back on the show, man. It's been a long time coming. I remember our first interview, all the way up to now, man. We've both been developing a lot. I see you, just working on your craft, and I'm doing the same thing on my end. And it's cool to have us meet in the middle and do these interviews like this where we're both hitting different checkpoints in our career. But as far as the fight goes, man, I was really excited that I got the call for this. It took me a moment to kind of get myself into that proper mentality. Like, I'm the guy for the job. Like, I believe that I could do it. I just didn't quite feel like I deserved it yet. But I had a talk with a friend, Tim Bailey, and he kind of pulled me out of that. And we were all working together, and I realized that I'm the guy for the job.
Well, hats off and shout out to Tim Bailey. And I think that's a big part of the team. It's not just a matter of having a great team. You're at the Mat Factory, one of the best coached, disciplined, great team all around, just incredible. But it's also teammates aren't just great because they punch you or you punch them. They're great because they become part of your family and they give you advice and feedback and support and encouragement. And just to know that, like, you're at a good spot in your career. You're coming off an incredible fight with Jimmy Fat Phone at your last fight. It was great. Um, and what is that fight? What confidence does that fight give you coming into this fight as far as going against an absolute stud, winning by split decision, which is a great thing in the sense that you won a fight that was hard to win. A lot of people talk about the fights when you win in the first 2 minutes or 1 minute. Yeah, that's great. But the fights where you're going to grow the most, and always look for knockouts in the first minute, right? But the reality is the fights where you're going to grow the most are the fights which are your toughest fights, the fights where you have to really battle. Winning by split decision in a good advanced amateur fight is great. 9 minutes of experience. It's going to help you propel, in this case, to your title fight. So what do you learn from and what do you grow from the Jimmy fight? And then what's your confidence level going into this fight and your thoughts on your opponent?
I don't know if you remember our last interview leading into this fight with Jimmy. I was telling you that I wanted to showcase my all of my MMA traits, and I think that I was able to do that with my fight with Jimmy. Was showcase a little bit more striking. Obviously, we did some more grappling and some jiu-jitsu, which I'm not sure. Everybody knew that I had the wrestling, but jiu-jitsu often needs to be paired with it to make it a little bit more effective. And I was able to utilize the Kimura trap a lot through that fight, the 100% sweep, and a few other key things that I think caught the eyes of a few other people that kind of showed a little bit more of an exciting element to my fighting game. And that's what I'm prepared to, increase on in this next fight. Keep my foot on the gas pedal and showing people the vision that I have for myself in this game. I don't want to just, take home wins, but I want to take home exciting wins. I want to be somebody, a spectacle in the sport.
Well, it's a great attitude and mindset to have. I think you absolutely are a must-watch fighter. One of the reasons why I enjoy you coming on the show, and it was very kind of you to thank me at the beginning. I'm very grateful and thankful to you and everybody else. Honored to have the opportunity to have people come on, or else it would just be me talking to myself, which I would do. I would do videos of me just talking to myself, but I don't think people would watch them nearly as much as when I've got awesome guests on the show like you and Isaiah, so that's really great. For you, I think it's only, and this is something the legendary matchmaker Jim Mooney and I have talked about. There comes a point in a fighter's career, and you're there where you're only going to have hard fights because you are a talented fighter with a lot to offer. Jimmy was a tough fight with a lot of skill. Obviously, Kevin Buckner's 5-1. He's got a great record. Like it's there are times in people's career where if you're not doing well and you're on a losing streak, where you might fight somebody that's under 500. You're not at that point. You're 4-1. You're only going to be fighting guys that are absolutely. If I remember right, I think Jimmy Fat Foam was undefeated when you fought him. If I remember right, and could be wrong on that. He might have had one loss. I look at a lot of people's records, but what are your thoughts specific to Kevin Buckner as far as your opponent goes? And what does that give you? I stand corrected. Jimmy did have one loss coming into your fight, but he had a great record. He was 4-1. You were 3-1 coming into that fight. So, what are your thoughts specific to Kevin Buckner?
Well, I think that I would be foolish not to have any respect for the man. I think, he's established himself in the game. Getting a a full fight, a win against a guy like Luke Pangchek, that says a lot about him. So, I live with the thought every day as I'm training that I'm gonna have to, go through a higher pace fight and keep a good cardio and endurance level throughout. My coaches are doing a little bit more looking at Kevin as far as his skills and his go-tos, and I'm just kind of focusing on my game plan. I really have a strong belief in just the law of attraction and focusing on what you have going on rather than being a person who gets too anxious about the tools and devices that another person has in front of them. I have a strong confidence that he's going to be dealing with a lot more of my elements than I'll be dealing with his elements.
Well, that's the confidence that really matters. What's great about any one-on-one sport, particularly combat in MMA, is while it's important to kind of know what your opponent has to offer, what you have to offer them is way more important. Like you said, he's going to be dealing with you more than you'll be dealing with him. I also think it's great. Coaches have different styles. You're coached by absolute legends. Isaac Greeley is the first inaugural and only member of the 247 Hall of Fame to date. And obviously Chris Dempsey is incredible. And I think there are coaches, and there are definitely two of them, that fit very well into the role of you're the fighter, you get better as a fighter. They will figure out what your opponent's strengths and weaknesses on, and they will coach you to be good against that opponent. And that's a little different. And some fighters love it. Some fighters literally watch their opponent morning, noon, and night. Some fighters really visualize their opponent all the time and become expert at that opponent. That doesn't have to be you. You are always looking to be a better version of yourself. Your coaches will make sure that you're training things that make you more dangerous against your opponent. I think that's probably the better way to do it, but whatever works. And sometimes you're an amateur. Sometimes you're still figuring out like what works, what style works, what type of weight cut works, what type of warm up, what type of road work, what type of cardio work. There's a lot of things you're working on to develop. Now you've already fought the 9 minutes advanced amateur 3 3-minute rounds. What confidence do you have cardio and as far as your ability to go all 9 minutes if you need to for the title fight March 16th?
My confidence only goes up each time as I fight. I think a big part of it is just my performance anxiety and finding different ways to get myself more comfortable and familiar with the setting each time. I try to just create small different routine things that I like to do for each fight, and make it something like when you go to work, there's certain things you do without even knowing it, and it's just habitual for you. So I want to feel like that as I go into each fight, and just look more of like This is a habit for me. I'm ready to go. This isn't like some super day. I'm not gonna make it where I dump all my energy before I get into the cage. I'm just gonna get out there and whenever we start slinging hands, that's where I'm gonna dump my energy.
And managing energy reserves, like you just talked about, that is a big part of figuring out your fight style. So makes sense being able to conserve energy. I often see the Pittsburgh legend and all around incredible guy, the General Patton, and he'll be sleeping. He'll have his whole. You've been backstage with him. He'll have blanket down and he'll be sleeping because that's part of have a little blanket over him. That's part of him conserving energy and balancing the nerves and the excitement of fighting, but also knowing that his body only has so much energy reserves. And there is something called nervous energy, excitement energy, and you want to use that in the fight. You don't want to use that jumping around backstage for 2-3 hours before the fight. And that always reminds me when I was a coach at an MMA gym, and I had a fighter. I love him. Hi, Tim. But he would jump rope for an hour and a half, 2 hours straight backstage. And when I realized this, I stopped him from doing it. And I remember one time I was so happy. I was like, I stopped him from jumping rope, but I had multiple fighters fighting that night and I lost track of him. And he had gone outside to jump rope where I didn't see him. So it's really about balancing, and there's nothing against him or anybody that gets nervous energy. It's a matter of controlling that, so you use that energy to warm up properly and in the fight, and not doing 2 hours or more of something that can really exhaust you, and potentially take away your energy. Now, for you, you've got high confidence. You're taking on a tough guy. You guys are both absolute top of amateur fighters. You're 4-1, he's 5-1. Do you have a prediction that you wanna make, or is your main prediction that you're going to get the belt and that people need to come out to the fight March 16th to see it?
Man, second round knockout.
Oh, there's the prediction. Okay, you made it. And what
A
makes you
minute
think
20
of
seconds
that?
in.
How many seconds in?
A minute 20 seconds in. So what
Wow,
is
I
that?
got
80
now.
seconds in to the second
I
round.
got now. I got to write this down so that afterwards I know how close you were on your prediction.
Yeah.
Um, Fantastic. Well, that's the type of confidence and prediction that really goes a long way. I can't wait to see you back in action. It's going to be incredible. Before we wrap up, let's talk about all the sponsors, the people that have literally supported you, giving you financial support to be able to help you train, to be able to help you with your MMA goals and dreams. Who are your sponsors coming into this big title fight?
I got a great team with me, and I'm so excited to have these people on board. I think that we're going to do big things together, not just with this fight, but proceeding forward. I got Go Green Windows, Russ Green. He's running. He reached out to me, and he's been a great help for me this fight camp. I got Immortal Power. This is a strength and conditioning gym owned by a friend of mine who does great work and getting athletes either started or continued in their athletic journey. I got Rethage Brothers Roofing is a family company of roofers that does high quality shingle work, architectural shingles. Um, they also have a joint company, Water to the Woods, that does like small and large game conservation.
Hmm.
And we have the Hillview. Um, we have the Oklahoma Inn, which is a bar local to me. They serve some pretty good drinks over there and some of the best wings that you're gonna find. We got Ginzer Boxing, which is Chris Williams
Oh, yeah.
and Dobosh Company, and we got Arias Agency, Simon Arias. He's with me for this fight, and I'm really excited to have him on for a life insurance company to help your families protect their financial futures. And that's my team right there.
That's a quality team. I know a lot of those because they've been involved in promoting and helping and sponsoring 247 fighting championships. And whether I know them or not, there's literally not a fighter out there that can't benefit from sponsors being supportive of them. So I'm thrilled. I always say this every time. If part of supporting Elijah is buying tickets, coming to this fight, it's a huge fight, a lot of great fighters on it, a lot of fighters from the Mat Factory. It'll be a great night for that, but also supporting any of the sponsors you just heard listed and telling them, hey, I know you're sponsoring Elijah. That's why I called you or talking to you, or whatever. So like they know, like, hey, not only are they helping Elijah, but Elijah, you're helping them. And that's really the whole process of this. So it's been really spectacular having you on. I hope to continue to have you on throughout your career. Thanks so much for taking time. Can't wait to see you in action March 16th for Made Men Promotions. Title fight on the line for Elijah Davis. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Always an honor. Thanks for the special guest, your son, Isaiah, making an appearance as well. How precious that was. You take care. Can't wait to see you in action. Best skills to you.
All right, my man. Have a good one.
You got it, brother.